Hey gamers, today we're going to talk about Trajan. Let's check it out.
Set up the game. Each player is going to get a player board. They're going to draw 3 of these, any tiles they want here, and put them on the 2, 4, and 6 spaces. Your little archway here will start on the 1 here. You're going to grab 2 of each color of these keshes and then mix them up and put them in the different trays to an area. You're going to have all your men here. Of course, one of your men will be right here, and a man and a general will be up there as indicated on the board. Of course, you will start at 0 points here. You'll start here on the Senate track. You'll have your round tracker, depending if it's a 2, 3, or 4 player game there. A stack of tribute tokens there, and the round counters. This game goes 4 rounds. You're also going to shuffle these little decks of tablets here, put 2 out, and then of course depending if it's a 2, 3, or 4 player game, you'll be shuffling out the mixing up these little orange back tiles, putting 3 there, and then mixing up all these little green back tiles and putting them in the green areas as outlined on the board. You're also going to be mixing up and putting in these little huts here on this area here, putting these 3 ships out. And then, of course, as the area says, you're going to take more green backs here and place them out around the area. So, this game, very simple. It's like Macaulay. You're just going to pick up 2 of these keshes and then drop 1 in each bowl, moving them around. Now, the game suggests that you start by moving them on the inside. That way, if you want to go back and change things up, you won't forget which color cube you put in each area there. But anyway, you pick up the keshes here, and then I drop it like 1 and 2. Now the action that you end on is the action you're taking. The first thing you want to see is you have one of these tokens here. If you have matches, as you see, I need a yellow or a blue. In this case, I did. So I'll get 5 points, and I get to put one of my men into this little war area. So I can take this man, put him into the war area, and then of course score 5 points. And that would be my turn. Now, that is... but also you would take this action, I forgot. So you would take the little work action here. And what that is, it's right here on the player board. What you'll do is I'll take my guy, and the very first time I'll put him anywhere, grabbing that token and taking that area. Now afterwards, if I activate this, if I have another man, I can put him anywhere or move this man orthogonally in one of the spots. Okay? So the first thing I do when I take one of these match the icons that are placed here on the board. And the first time you place it, you will get to do that action it states on the board. And the actions are the same as the actions here endwise. And then of course you will also get the victory points associated with it. These also count as in-game points if you get sets of them of 3 or more. Now I will say this, once you've taken this action, if I take more of this same tile, I will not get that bonus action. The bonus action is only there for the very first time you activate any of these. So that is the worker place action. Now all the same once you pick it up, you just drop 1 in each and then move on. So I'll just go whatever the other actions are. The ship action lets you do a few different things here. You can grab 2 cards and pick one of them, or you can grab one of the discards. If a discard is ever empty, you will just refill it with another discard. Or the third action you can do is you can use your cards to sell to one of these ships. And the ship can say, hey, how many different types do you have, depending how much you get? Or how many of the same type do you have? Or how many pairs of the same type do you have? Once you've taken advantage of any of those ships, you will flip it over to its gray side, which will offer less points for other players who want to take that action as well. But that's the ship action. The 2 columns action is over here, and what you're going to do, very simple, is take one of these tiles and then place them on your board. If they're one of these little tribute tokens, you'll place it on the outline board shown here, or if it's like one of these little scroll pieces, you'll put it here. This is for end of the round scoring here on the Senate track. Whatever you want, you'll place it there. Now, I should also mention, every time you're grabbing keshes, depending on how many keshes you grab, it determines how far this moves. So I moved 2 keshes that time, so we go there. Let's say everyone did that. So now we're there. What if I picked up this 3 and I went, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm taking this action here? Well, I would go 1, 2, 3 on that track. Now that's important because every time this moves around, the first, second, and third time, you're putting down the 3 types of items that they may want. And that's very important, which I'll get to in a minute. And the 4th time it goes around, that means it's the end of the round. And so you'll just move this round counter and see if you can pay the tribute. Tribute tokens, you're collecting in various ways through that, or through some of your expansion, your little tiles here, like for instance this one. If it did have a fire burning one and I completed this, not only would I get 1 victory point, and place it there, it always counts for one of these. And then maybe I had one of these too. And it just depends, like I said again, how many you had would determine if you would lose points or not. Because if you don't have these over on this board, it'll say, hey, if you don't have one of these, it's 4. 2 of them, it's 9. If you don't have all 3, it's 5. You just lost 15 points. So it is kind of wise to pay attention every round as this counter's going around to see what the new tributes are, because they're going to be different each time. But anyway, getting ahead of myself. The warrior action over here. First thing you want to do is move your general. He can move 1 space in any connecting area. Now once he goes there, he will grab the tile. If there is no tile there that round, these will refresh after every round. But if there is no tile there, there's just no tile there. But he can move there. Now the second thing you can do, if you take this action again, next time I can move a man up in there and get the victory points associated with it, which would be 3. Now what if I had 2 men? Well, I wouldn't get the 3rd points again. In fact, I can't have 2 of these men in the same area. But if maybe I moved him here later on, I could grab this extra 1, and then I can move this guy up here and grab 6 on my next turn. See, it's basically just giving you some more green tokens you can get, and of course some victory points as well. Next up is the Senate action. How the Senate action works is you would move 1 up on the board and get the corresponding victory points here associated with it. At the end of this round, when this thing is going around 4 times, whoever's ahead on the track will win one of these. The second player will flip this one over and get less points. It's basically the same in-game points you can get at the end of the game, but marked down. That's a one-time score. This would be in-game. But anyway, if you have a tie, you may want to look for some of these, because these are little extra ones that you may have collected, which would say, hey, not only, like let's say this was it, and I was the green player, oh no, I'm behind by 2, but no, I have this one that says I get a +2, so I'm actually up here counting my extra tokens. So I would go first, and I could get my choice of these, and then brown would get the gray side of whatever I didn't choose. So that's kind of how that goes. And then at the end of the round, these would just shuffle back. And of course, all these tokens would be replenished on this board here. But anyway, again, that's the Senate action. Final action is the little gate action here, where basically you're taking any one of these that you want. So let's say I take this one here, and I would place it on my 1, and then move this to the next available empty spot. If there is no empty spots, you just move it off the board for now. But I've never seen that happen in any of our games. And of course, the rewards are pretty simple. Some will give you men in certain areas on the board. Some will give you permanent tributes. Some will just give you 9 victory points. Some will give you 2 cards from the deck, or someone that give you this +2. Every once in a while, when you're grabbing one of these oranges, you can use them down here on the board to get a +1 on that action. Or if you were to complete one of those, you can get one of these +2 tokens and put it on there and get a +2 to whatever one of these actions you are choosing. So what you're doing is you keep going until the round ends, paying the tribute, losing the points, and then removing this and going to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. At the end of the game, what you're going to be doing, any cards left over in your hand count for a victory point. Any men in this area and in this area, any extra men you have would count for victory points. If you would count up any of the victory points of these little tiles that you have. And of course, with these orange tiles, if you had 3 of the same emblem on them, you'll get 15 points. If you have 4 of the same emblem on them, you'll get 20 points. And whoever has the most points wins.
Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? I've been looking at this game for years, on and off, and I finally decided to get it, and I'm so glad I did. This is excellent. One of Feld's better games. I truly believe that. The Makala aspect, where you're dropping the ones around there, is brilliant. Which ones you get are good. Man, those tribute tiles, people were obsessing over tribute, and I wasn't obsessing that much, but I was losing, like, I lost close to 40 points in one game we played, just because I wasn't paying attention to tribute that much. But I was making a ton, but I was also losing some and always falling back behind a few players at the end, which they haughtily laughed at me each time I did it. But I did get some in-game points there. You don't want to focus on too many things, like I just want to focus on this or that or this. Some people are obsessed over those tributes. My board game group cannot get over, I don't want to lose any points. Yeah, but you're just using time for one thing. Like, no one cared about the Senate track when we played, and they let me run away with it. And I won based on all the in-game tablets I got and the points I was getting, but no one wanted to use the Senate action. Another time, I ran rampant over the country in that the general and the people action, and was getting tons of green tokens, tons of victory points there, and again won it. A lot of people don't use the ships. Another time I won and I was putting on the ships and no one else was, everyone was setting up their cars for that big cash in. But if you wait too long, it never comes around. And the game can end almost immediately when you don't expect it, because someone has this big 5 or 7 they're going to use. You're like, oh no, that's too many paces. That's going to end the game or end the round or whatnot. I love that about this game. And of course, I think there's a lot of replayability with this game too. This is a fantastic game by Stefan Feld. One that I can highly recommend. You do want to have a balance of getting all of those sites are very important. You definitely want to make sure you get them all in there. Lots of points to be had, but also a lot of fun. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!